Light tanks are one of the funnest classes within World of Tanks, but why not make a heavy do everything a light tank can do but have armour? Let's take a look at how we managed to do this in World of Tanks console. We grabbed ourselves one of the meatiest heavies within the game, we slapped on traction system, we boosted the speed even further with advanced powertrain, and we made sure that we could hit things on the move, as the light tanks always do. And the result? An IS-7 that can do 72.28 kilometers an hour and have 0.36 accuracy. Yeah, pretty disgusting. Let's have a look at what we can do. What better way to start a light tank, heavy tank video than to play Prokhorovka, the best World of Tanks console light tank map in the game, and instantaneously we're hitting it off with a bang, hitting the Ariete P46 on the move with probably a tank that should not be hitting on the move, and yes, the IS-7. On the flat you can see us doing 46 kilometers an hour in a super heavy tank that is the IS-7. Yeah, not something that you see every day, and certainly when you whack on the fuel boost as well, boosting up the horsepower of the vehicle, it certainly comes in nicely. Anyway, regardless of the horsepower of the vehicle, we have taken the light tank position on the map where we can essentially spot for our team, and instantaneously we are getting spotting damage within this game. You can see us grabbing already 477, and of course the typical World of Tanks mechanic there hitting us for a nice chunk of our hit points. Yeah, still can't avoid those, and yeah, they still go for light tanks as well. Anyway, once again hitting on the move on the Barras, because IS-7 with 0.36 accuracy is perfectly balanced according to Wargaming, but we'll move on and you can see us moving on quickly with 45 kilometers an hour. The maintained speed with this tank is just unbelievable. It's pretty much 45 wherever you're going, unless you're going downhill, at which point you can reach speeds of about 80 kilometers an hour in a heavy tank. Yeah, that is just actually insane. And although we don't manage to hit the 140 when we're fully aiming, unlike when we're on the move firing at people, apparently that's easier to hit people, but yeah, we can still have a good game. And you can see already on Prokhorovka 1869 assistance damage already, and you can see what we're doing here. Yep, somehow managed to pen the Object 705A. No idea how. He was pretty much invisible anyway at that point, so must have bent around the corner because Wargaming, but 1,500 actual damage as well, and 2 of those being on the move and the other one being, yeah, what you've just seen. Anyway, 2,700 spotting damage. Yes, the IS-7 is perfect as a light tank. Well, I say perfect. It just got everything that you really need in a heavy tank that you're trying to be super aggressive in. And if you've ever watched World of Tanks PC, you know exactly what the IS-7 can do when you put on speed boost equipment on that game. So let's give it a go on console. Already Prokhorovka, 3 minutes and like 20 seconds into the game, we're already on 4.7 thousand combined damage, which certainly I wouldn't be passing up in any opportunity, to be honest, and make that 5,000 combined damage already. And this is where the IS-7 becomes so fun to play. And if you haven't already picked up the IS-7 within World of Tanks console, I implore you, I cannot recommend this tank enough. It is such a great tank for beginner players as well within the game, because it has flexibility, at least to a degree. It has mobility, it's got armour that actually works when you can get hold down. It also has that pike nose, which means that you have to actually think about angling properly and the angling mechanics within the game, and basically has really decent accuracy now after update 6.0, and so yeah, you can make shots like you've been seeing within this game. It's not actually unbelievable that you can hit shots like that within the IS-7 with this setup. Obviously having vertical stabilizers definitely helps with that, but it definitely can't really be said in terms of the tank itself with a lot of the heavy tanks in the game. Now, you'll see there, unfortunately, because we're running fuel and also combat rations and also a repair kit, we do not have a med kit, which means that our loader is now taken out for the rest of the game, which is disappointing, but never mind. We'll just put shots into people and get assistance damage. And with assistance damage at 3.8 thousand already. And of course we've seen the most despicable class within World of Tanks trying to escape like a little rat he is. That's just not allowed when we're playing in the IS-7. Yeah, you think you can trick me? No. Whilst we do manage to pick up one of the artillery, the other one tries to have a pot shot at us and takes out another third of our hit points away because, yeah, artillery is completely fine and balanced. Anyway, 3,000, well, nearly 3,000 damage, 4,000 assistance damage, and we've managed to basically be a light tank straight from the beginning on Prokhorovka in an IS-7. Probably one of the tanks you wouldn't expect to be cresting the ridge lines with the, I believe, 5 degrees of gun depression that this tank gets. I don't believe it's very good, but essentially, yeah, this is not the tank that you'd expect to be patrolling the mid-ridge, and we've somehow managed to pull it off, at least without any real hiccups other than the fact artillery is having a field day with our hit points. Now, obviously, from this point forward, I've got nothing left to lose, and artillery hitting us once again. You can see me getting frustrated with the fact that we've probably lost about 80% of our hit points to the artillery. Yeah, a little bit disappointing, but anyway, in this game, maybe we'll get some payback on him. But Centurion Action X, we've still got 5 enemies left alive, and that won't stay long because we can manage to pick up some enemies destroyed in a little second, and we'll put 1 round into the 268, unfortunately bouncing, but you know, we can't complain too much because total combined nearly 7,000 damage within this game. And yeah, let's move forward in this game. Let's push, and with the increased speed that we can get because of the fuel tanks in this, it also means that you have great ramming potential within the IS-7. So if you ever meet anyone that decides that they think that they're pretty heavy, and you're just way heavier, this is where the tank becomes so fun. And you can see 62 kilometers an hour there coming down the hill, and once you actually reach the top speed you typically maintain it, but as soon as you start going up a hill it then drops it. It's almost like once you've reached the pinnacle speed you can maintain it, but after that, if you then decide to move or turn, it really impacts the rate at which you can do. But very satisfying there, managing to pick up the M53-55. If nothing else within this game, we did manage to take him out, and that is one of the most rewarding things, is when you manage to take out one of those piggies that's been annoying you for the whole game. And regardless of how much damage they've done to you, you get the final damaging hit on them, and that's what's really important, isn't it? Anyway, 3,375 damage, not necessarily the highest damage game you'll ever see in the IS-7, I can definitely say that, but what we were going for is not necessarily a heavy tank result, but more of a light tank result, and we've certainly managed to do that on Prokhorovka in a tank that definitely is not suited to being a light tank, but we've made it work. Obviously, we managed to pick up a victory. We did come 3rd on the team, unfortunately somehow, but we did get 7,400 combined damage nearly, with a fantastic result, and of course getting one of the best medals in the game, the Pascucci's, and yeah, we got 27,000 credits as well, 5,500 XP, or Commander XP, which is always nice, so that's boosting us up, and the battle only lasted 7 minutes. Next map is of course a map that is really suited to the IS-7, Pilsen, a heavy tank map, but we're going to do something completely different, completely off the record, completely something you shouldn't really do with your heavy tank, and that is go to the medium and light tank area of the map, being the right hand side or the eastern side of the map, and that is something that hopefully we can pick up some of those light tanks that decide that they're going to go to the position that they should, and when they meet an IS-7 maybe it doesn't go too well. But with the speed, obviously we can get over here very quickly. The problem with being a super heavy within the game, or something that doesn't have necessarily the speed at which we can go 45 kilometers an hour consistently, yeah, you can get caught out as you're crossing, and then you lose, you know, maybe 1/3 of your hit points at the beginning of the game, and so you're negatively impacted by coming over to this flank. But that is not the case with the IS-7. We can get into position just like the mediums can, and so yeah, no real risk coming over here at the beginning of the game. Obviously there's always a risk no matter the game. If someone decides to do something absolutely outrageous, sometimes you can lose hit points, but that's not the case in this game. Now obviously we can bully medium tanks like the K91, and bully them we will. The K91 is obviously a tank that really relies on having DPM and being able to kind of remain the tank not at the forefront, and when you're coming up against an IS-7 trying to face hug you and poke you, yeah, it's not gone too well for him, and he's lost probably 80% of his hit points at the beginning of the game within a minute and a half. Now with us, of course, we've taken only 1 shot of damage, which isn't bad for the beginning of the game. Sometimes you do have to trade. Is it necessarily the best trade that I've ever seen? No, because we could have picked up more damage if we didn't manage to bounce or whatever, but 1,500 damage at the beginning, I will not be complaining, and with only 1 shot taken, that's perfect for a heavy tank. Obviously usually heavy tanks are ones that are having to deal with each other, and the tank that I'm a little bit scared about on this flank, the other heavy tank, the T-57 Heavy, Yeah, let's see how well it goes for him when he decides to come over here, just like we've been doing in this game. Obviously, he's taken the majority of his hit points out of the game already, but, you know, we could wait, we could shoot him, but that's not the case when you're in an IS-7 that can go 45, 50, 60, even up to 70 or 80 kilometers an hour, depending on if you're going downhill. We're going to ram him, of course, and when you've got all of the perks on that allow you to take less damage when ramming, and of course spool liner, you are going to really be wanting to do that. And of course you could swap out the vertical stabilizers on the vehicle to have spool liner, but it is dependent on whether that is the kind of build you're going for, whether you just want to be super aggressive and just ram things, or do you want to actually be able to hit on the move as well. So maintain that. You know, sometimes it's not just fun just trying to ram into things and failing for 90% of the time, but on the odd occasion you do manage to do that and have fun, then yeah, it can be interesting. Obviously, we can continue our full frontal assault on the T95E6, and this is where it all goes a little bit pear-shaped for us. What we're trying to do here, stick my gun in front of theirs, but it's still managing to pen us. Looks like he's firing heat, which is a little bit disappointing, but we'll put one round into him and just keep trying to avoid the angle, and he manages to bounce off of us. So 5,000 damage within this game in just, what, 3 minutes? Yeah, not a bad result at all, and I won't be complaining whatsoever. Obviously, we do have the T95E6 now coming back around. I'm hoping my teammate are going to save me, and they're going to be able to cover the back, because he's going to have to crash the ridge line in front of them, and no, they literally didn't, and 5,000 damage is the maximum amount we'll get in this game. But a 5,000 damage within 3 minutes is not too bad, and hopefully it showcased what the IS-7 can do when you put on the speed boost equipment and when you're just trying to have a bit of fun. It's not necessarily the best setup that you can use with the tank in terms of being competitive, but you can have an unbelievable amount of fun trying to ram things, trying to just be super aggressive and get into positions that no one is ever going to really think that you can do, and sometimes it does work, like you've seen. Other than that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and you pick out some content to have a look at on the channel in a minute. And I hope that you'll join me there. Goodbye.